Hello, everyone, and welcome to Pracedge. This is a platform where you maximize your learning potential with the power of networking and expert guidance. We are a networking community where the opportunity and the knowledge meets to create the endless possibilities. With over 22,000 members, we are a dynamic and diverse group of students from 250 plus colleges and backgrounds, whether you are a seasoned professional or just starting out your career. Pracedge provides a space to learn from others, share your own experience. I'm your host, Henry, and welcome back to the another podcast on how to prepare for the interview. Today, we have a special guest, Rohit Doshi. So, Rohit, why don't you go ahead and briefly introduce yourself?
Yes, surely. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. And hey, everyone. I'm Rohit Doshi, as you can uh, know by now. I work as a senior software engineer in Goldman Sachs. I also do a little bit of content creation at LinkedIn, and my primary expertise lies in Java, AWS, microservices, Kubernetes, Kafka, multiple domains. Over the years, I have worked on around like 5 or 6 projects in my 4.5 years of experience, you could say. And yeah, still trying to learn a little from everyone that I can, and trying to help people through various types of mentorships, like one-on-one, through TopMate, through such live sessions, and connecting with the people who call out to me through TNPs, through trailing and placement cells, and through other platforms. So yeah, that's basically me.
I that was a that was a quite of a dare that you did had in your experience as well, and very open to help people and prepare them for the interviews. Like, yeah, that's really something nice. So let's get straight to it. Like when we talk about the interview, there is like too many big words that people always get confused. Like there is screening interview, there is case interview, there is telephonic interview, there is panel interview, all that kind of stuff, all that kind of words that always confuses people. So what exactly is that? What are the difference? Like what is that?
So first of all, let's start with the basic ones, like the technical interviews.
Mm-hmm.
What happens there is you are analyzed basically on your technical skills primarily. Okay. So what do I mean by technical skills is uh, let's say if you are a programmer, then you would be asked about different programming languages, like for example C++, Java, C, Python, whatever, etc. And that's how the level of technical skills is analyzed, and a particular job description and a particular person is compared. Okay. And into that there is a thin line of transparency between, or you can say a boundary between, what beginner, intermediate, and expertise. There's no such thing like beginner, intermediate, expertise, but it's all about experience and how deep did you go while writing your code or while writing your application, right? So that comes into more of a technical part. And yeah, so that constitutes most of it, where you study about the different technical aspects of your code, where you understand the different programming flows. You understand syntax. How do you solve a problem through your code? What algorithms do you apply? What core concepts you need to follow? All these things come into picture when basically you are a general student or someone who is in their early career phase. If you would like to know about more, little about like what does the other categories constitute about the screen interviews and the case interviews. So let's go to the second category, which I would prefer called as behavioral interviews, where what happens is like how did they handle a particular situation,
Mm-hmm.
what can we expect from them. Okay. So this is captured in that particular round. And generally what happens is this: like you are given a situation, This is often termed as different round by different companies. Some people call it situation round, some people call it group discussion round, but generally it is a behavioral round where how do you react to that situation, or how do you absorb that situation? Both things are analyzed. Okay, so what basically are the competencies, or whether you are a cultural fit or not? Those things are minorly like minutely tracked in that case. Okay, so this happens in the case interviews, sorry, the behavioral interviews. Talking about what you said, screen and case, right?
Yes, yes, screening and case interviews.
Yes. So see, screening rounds generally happen on as a audio calls, and generally with mostly with the recruiters, and they are in the fairly initial phases of the hiring process. Okay, so at that time, generally recruiter doesn't know about you at all, and they just contact you on through an audio call, through a phone call, that hey, this is some opportunity for you, and we did try to like reach out to you, and basically are you interested? Okay, if it's a off campus opportunity, obviously, but if it's a on campus opportunity, they just try to analyze whatever you have studied in your college. Okay, so this there is a difference, slight difference in the off campus hiring and the on campus hiring, where on campus companies have a little different approach of interview processes, whereas the off-campus have a little different approach of processes, where generally the on-campus is considered slightly easier, whereas the off-campus is considered slightly harder, because you are in the bigger pool and everyone is competing with you, right?
Hi.
That's the case. Sorry, coming back to my another point of case study interviews or case interviews, in short they are called. So here, what happens is you're given a problem. The last round of which we talked about was behavioral round, right?
Yes.
That was how did you react? Okay, but this in case in rounds or case study interviews, what happens is you are given a detailed problem of let's say building a particular website or building a particular platform. There you have to analyze, there you have to showcase your analytical skills, like what product requirements would be, how would you gather those requirements, what basic concepts of that particular platform should be established, how did you come to that particular point that yes, my platform needs this, my platform does not need this. This approach on how did you solve that particular problem of building a particular platform is generally studied in this case interviews, like its name goes, right? Case study interview. So a particular case study is given, let's say a website of Zomato or a LinkedIn. Generally, these are taken into case. Why is this important? Is because people really like to know if you know about what you are doing in the bigger picture, and do you like to look the problems slightly from behind. Basically, when you write a code, it's slightly from the near. When I say near, not like to your screen, but it's
like from front side.
Level rail. Yeah, correct. But when you see it from the further level, you understand what the business flow is, how does your data get processed, where does it come from, where does it go, how does it get internally processed. All these mappings get analyzed, whether you are able to figure them out or whether you are not able to figure them out. That is a different case. But little bit, if you showcase like how do you do, let's say a completely new feature you are asked to build, right? Let's say there is an existing application, but you are asked about a completely new feature. So how do you do a hypothetical situation? Basically, like, yes, I have built my feature, I wrote the code for it, but I have to give a hypothetical situation. Like, let's run this code in this hypothetical situation. Okay, what's the output? Okay, let's try, let me try another hypothetical. So are you able to imagine your code in real world scenario? That is also being tested in the case interviews and all. Generally, these go for these are asked when there are system design and such questions. But generally, smaller at a smaller level, like how would you build a website? How would you gain specific information related to that? What trends, what challenges, what best practices you would follow. Those things are analyzed at a junior level, or I would say at an early career level. But yeah, uh, that's how it is. That's how I would like to differentiate.
So in also quickly summarize like all the different categories. It's going to be like the screening interview, basically the first initial step where they checks all the eligibility, all the check marks, like, oh yeah, do you have all this qualification so you can go for the interview. It's basically something like that. And then there comes the technical interview where you require to use your technical skills or your technical knowledge. You might be asked some technical questions based on that. And there you go, the behavior interview, where they try to check what kind of person you are, your behavior, your mindset, like your way of thinking, your thought process, exactly, that kind of stuff. And then there is case interview. So case interview is like something, if you have worked on something, how did you came to the certain conclusion, and like, do you even know how that the things works? You have wrote a beautiful code, but like, do you know what is actually going to do in the real life? So they're trying to test that.
Correct.
Hi. So can you share some of the common mistakes that some candidates make while preparing for the interviews, or some mistakes that they do during in these steps of the interview?
Sorry, some common mistakes made by whom?
Candidates, like the person who is giving interview.
Okay. So, yeah, first of all, the most common mistake is not clarifying your problem or your question. Okay. That happens in all of the rounds, whether it's screening, technical, behavioral, case study, it happens in all of the rounds. Okay. I'll talk individually about each case. Well, when you are screening, you should ask first, basically, what is the job about? Okay. If you
Yes.
if you are not clear about the role title itself, not clear about the document itself, what they are going to post as a job description, then there's no point in going ahead, right? Let's not waste time and then realize at the offer declaration time, right? That okay, this is not something I was made for. This is not something we talked about, right? This doesn't work, right? Then and you go through multiple interviews and then you realize it's a complete waste of time. So in first round, it generally turns out to be like, what is your role about? What people don't ask these questions.
Yes.
People don't ask these questions. Why? People feel that I need a job, so I should
not ask. Yes. The people are really afraid to ask the questions, to open up. They're like,
they have to break that barrier and ask that, put on that first word. Then the other person will usually support you. They are not there to hide anything. But yeah, it's about the first word that the candidate needs to put on. Okay. Talking about the further part of interviews, generally what happens is when you are asked about a particular problem, people don't ask about the surrounding things about it. You are already given a particular point, but you need to ask about the surrounding points to it. Let's say you are given to write a program, right? And after that, you realize that halfway, like how deep I have to write this program, right? Do I need to make it like super beautiful? Do I need to just write a normal logic? Do I need to like write a mediocre logic, right? So the people they realize this after putting efforts into the code. Why not ask it before the code? Before code, you'll think in that manner. You'll drive the code or you'll write your line by line code in that manner, thinking that yes, I have XYZ amount of minutes. Then I have to write XYZ features into it. And basically, then you'll start thinking that, okay, I need this much time for this part of code. I need this much time for this part of code, right? So it helps you and it teaches you multiple things like time management, code management. You can clear out to interviewer that, yes, this is possible. Yes, this is not possible, right? So you can clear it out right away at the beginning, wasting the whole time of interview and then realizing that, okay, I should have done it better. Oh, this is not possible, right?
I
Do it in the first 10 minutes, first 15 minutes. Your the rest of the duration of interview goes through, right? And it creates obviously a positive impact.
Yeah, even in the same situation, like even in the technical interview as well, like people are so afraid to ask the question. As you mentioned, like they need to ask the surrounding questions, like the questions related to the actual questions. What are the things that you need to do as well? And sometimes it's also like I've personally seen people that they're really good. Like whatever they do, they're really good in it. But like once they get an interview, they get nervous and all that. And now they have given up a certain question. They know how to solve the question, but they don't truly understand it. But they hesitate to ask for the clarification.
Yes, correct. Yeah.
It's
yeah, I totally agree to that. And when you ask, okay, let's say, even if people do that, okay, there is a second point to it. People, what they do is they try to, since they got the opportunity, since they got shortlisted, since the interview call, so they try to, this is the second or third mistake probably I'm talking about, that they try to deviate from the problem sometimes if they are not knowing the solution, and they try to provide some vague or generic answer instead of a particular example. Like right now, we took multiple examples in each category.
Yes.
Other than that, someone would have done like, okay, this is the definition of screening interview, this is the definition of behavioral interview, and this is the definition of case interviews. You talk about it, I talk about it, that's it, done. So instead of that, you have to give it in a particular way so that the other person resonates with it, right?
Yes.
So even if you don't know a particular situation, just say a no. There are hundreds of questions that the interviewer can ask, and he or she is there to answer you, right? Or ask you questions about it.
Yes.
And if you don't have expertise, then basically that job is not for you. That's something we discussed previously as well, right? Just
yes.
a while ago, right?
It's like no.
Yeah, sorry.
It's like no matter like what, the people always try to fit in, even if they don't know the answer to the question. They're like some sort of vague definition idea and generalize things, and they think like the interviewers will get it. I don't know. They probably think interview is not stupid. They know what you are doing. They are looking for the exactly answer. They want a clear-cut answer for the questions. Like when you try to mug up the things, they know that you're doing that. So, but people are always scared that if I say that I don't know the answer to the question, it would negatively impact on my interview. But like, if that's the very like the root question of the job description, and you don't know it, then probably it's not the good job for you. But if something it's not really a good, like the root of the job description, then interview definitely will ask a different question, because it's not something the only thing which is important.
Correct. One more thing is like some people, I mean, it's like, I don't know. Generally, we are categorizing. I'm talking about the general audience, okay? We generally categorize ourselves a lot. Like, I am an introvert, I am an extrovert, you are an introvert, you are an extrovert. And that shows up in your interviews as well. If you too much categorize yourself as a person who speaks negative about yourself, is completely wrong. First of all, it deteriorates your confidence.
Confidence, yes.
In a lot bad manner, okay? And it turns out to be negative. While you might have exceptional technical skills, you might write out a whole application in a night, But what's the use if you're not able to explain it to someone? If you stay silent, or if you don't decide to explain to someone, it's really, really, really hard for the people like these. They remain completely silent during the interviews. The interviewers are trying hard to like get out one sentence from the interview from the candidates itself. And that time it shows up as a bad quality, that this person is not uh, ready to give out the knowledge that they have. And
Yes.
it's a bad thing, and it's a red flag, to be honest.
Yes, of course, of course. Like, even if like interviewer is trying really hard to get out of you, but at the same time, if you are being the stubborn and you like, for whatever reason, probably you're shy, probably you know the answer, but you're not able to put it in a well manner. So that's why you're confused and you're not saying it out loud. You're just keeping it in yourself. It gives the impression to the interviewer that if you cannot answer the question right now, how would you be able to manage this when you get into the team? How would you will be communicate with the team? So like whatever is it like, and yeah, what you said is absolutely correct. Yes, people do categorize themselves like, I'm an introvert, so I can't really talk, I can't really speak, I get really shy, that kind of stuff. I think I read somewhere it was in a book called The Subtle Art of Not Giving. And they had a quotation words. I would like to quote it like, your words are your reflection. What you say about yourself is what actually you become. And if you say too much negative about yourself, you will actually be negative. Like you wouldn't be able to say it, even if like you're the most technical person.
Yeah, even about like since we talked about introverts, let's talk about extroverts as well. Otherwise, these people might get offended. So the only problem about extroverts is they don't know. They speak, right? They speak a lot, but they don't know when to keep their mouth shut.
Yes.
That is the biggest problem. And that can happen a lot when you're not actively, like it impacts your listening skills because you're speaking and trying to absorb, which is not possible. Even in a one-on-one talk, like let's say we both are talking, right? On a, let's say an online call. So if we both speak, like a little while ago, we both spoke, right? So
yes.
to pause and
yes.
reiterate all those things, right?
Yes.
So extroverts don't know when to pause, and that is the biggest disadvantage of of being an extrovert, right? That if you don't know when to pause or where to pause, then you are trying to suppress someone else's thought.
Yes.
They also have something to say. They also have something to express. And this happens in group discussion rounds as well, talking about the on-campus placements and the offline on-site hirings. Okay, there are a lot of walk-in interviews. I know COVID has changed a lot, but still we are now recovering in the recovery phase, and now people have started doing the on-site interviews, walk-in interviews around. So in that, to obviously eliminate a bunch of candidates, we have such rounds like group discussions, uh, group activities, situational skills to be tested. So in that case, obviously there's a moderator and there are 5 or 10 candidates, whatever the group size is. And in that, the extrovert needs to keep attention. If they talk too much, only one-sided, like a one-way traffic, it becomes total chaos, and it might get like a bombardment on the someone's thought process also, right? And it does create a little squish
Negative impact.
Whether
yes.
the person is really talking too much or just wants to create an impact. That's it.
Yeah, because like when you talk, you kind of stops listening, and when you're not listening, you don't actually know that what interview is actually saying. So now you two are in a totally different path. You're talking about something, but interviewer haven't asked about it. He asked something else, but you're speaking something else. That is going on.
Correct.
Correct. And since we're talking about like a group discussion like GD round, this is something very peculiar thing that the people don't really understand, like what they actually need to do in the group discussion. Like they are given a topic and they talk about it, but like what exactly and how to do it.
Okay. So here also, basically, what happens is generally these rounds are live,
Mhm.
and even if they are conducted online, people notice what you're doing, right? So
Yes.
what happens is like when you look, even if you are live or even if you are looking into the camera, what happens is your body language matters a lot, and that reflects your confidence. If you know about the topic, or how would be you trying to express yourself, how do you use your hands, how do you use your thoughts, how do you use your facial expression? If it's a Zoom online con, you can't see my full body, but you can see my expression. I'm trying to uh, exaggerate, or am I trying to keep it subtle and be to the point, right? So
Mhm.
it's all about that, with how do you showcase yourself again. uh okay, coming back to like a little more towards GD situations. So what happens in these rounds is you are given a situation, you have certain amount of competitors with you, and in that you have to little bit shine out, right, from other candidates.
Yes.
Requires confidence, less nervousness, your problem analytical skills, your time to time accomplishments, because those give a tick mark to the moderator that yes, this person has this skill, this person has this skill. Okay, this is slightly a half tick, but okay, the works, right? So that's something you are being looked at, right? So first of all, uh, focus on yourself first, be confident, be less nervous. There are two different things. Being confident, again, speak only when you know something. Rest of the times you can ignore, because that is something we just talked about, right?
Yes.
Speak continuously and just bombard your thoughts, right? Always people have opinions, people have deep opinions, but yeah, you have to keep it to yourselves, you have to control yourselves. That is how your body language works out, right? Then problem analytical skills is all about practice. How do you approach your problem? How do you behave yourself? How do you, let's say, team up with, you know that someone is your competitor in that group discussion group itself, but you can't always disagree with that person. Someone might have a better approach to your approach, right? Then you have to collaborate with them and then just take the problem ahead and find a little, let's say, a version 3 of like a better solution, right?
Yes.
Like you found a solution, the other person found a better solution, and if you combine, you might find another better solution which is far more better than both of you, right? So
Yes.
when to collaborate, when to put your individual contribution, that is something you need to take care of while doing group discussions, is what I feel.
I and since like when people hello. Yeah, you got frozen for a second. It's fine. It's okay now. Since we're talking like in a group discussion, like they not only check your technical abilities, they also check your behavior and all sorts of things in a group discussion you mentioned. So
Yes.
how can actually someone boost up their confidence? Because it's very common to get nervous in an interview, and for someone who is like going for the interview for the like first time, it's like absolutely really bad for them. Like it's nothing can be worse. Like they get so nervous.
Yeah, it's understandable. It does happen with me as well. Even now, when I'm talking to a little, like, unknown person,
Mhm.
they approach you first time. But now, like after meeting like hundreds of people, and it's all about like how do you try to treat them, the opposite person,
Mm.
whether it's your friend, whether it's nobody, but still they want your help, then it's up to you. How do you react to them, right?
Yes.
So what you have to be is take a 30-second break, calm your thoughts down, listen properly to the question or the help that they need, and then proceed with your answer. Then probably like express, right? That will help you break out the barrier of not having a confidence answer, not having a confident answer, not having an answer at all sometimes, right? Not having something like, like someone is trying to suppress me, someone like this person won't let me talk, those kind of feelings, right? So you'll get across all of these, and then once you are into it, like it's like swimming, right? Unless until you fall into the water, you
Don't really know.
won't float, right?
Yes.
It's fairly similar to that. And if you want to practice, what do we do in swimming? We practice in like a shallow area, right? So what do you do? Try with easy ones, right? Talk to your friends, talk to your seniors, college seniors. Even if you are a working professional, early professional, and you are not able to, break these barriers. So what you can do is reach out to your managers, reach out to your immediate seniors, like who are like, let's say 2 or 3 elder to you. They'll surely they have been very recently through these phases, and they can clear out all of your doubts with precise examples, with precise solutions to it.
Aye.
Like for example, let's say someone is not able to write a presentation, someone is not able to send out emails. Like it's a form of written communication, but it happens, like people are scared to do it, and it's all about breaking all of those barriers and then coming out with full confidence and okay, let's do this. Like,
Aye. So, in order to do it, like, of course, as the analogy you gave, like, you can't really float unless you go deep in the water. So, you can't really prepare for interview unless like you don't really practice it. And with whom you can practice with anyone, like with your friends, your family, like your coworker, your colleague, your seniors, your immediate seniors, like anyone whoever whom you ask, most probably they will not say no, or they will like to make a schedule for it. Like they will come up with some way to help you.
yes, correct.
And since like now that you are into the interview, like you got so much confidence, like you have the confidence to speak, to present yourself, and now you want to present yourself, and interviewer asks you like, okay, what are your skills and accomplishments? So how can you effectively show your skills and accomplishments without sounding like so boastful?
Okay, that's absolutely like a it's a gray area question, okay, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Because even if we speak in a subtle way, sometimes people like they think that this is sufficient. People might think that because I experienced, I switched companies. When I used to switch companies, I gave a lot of interviews, okay. And at that time, what happened is I had a panel of interviews which had 3 interviewers. 2 of them recognized whatever skills I spoke about were sufficient enough, but one of them felt these are too less. So it's all about perception. And then I had to little bit elaborate on what skills and how did I use them. So basically, part 2 of my conversation, right, with them had to happen. The other 2 panelists were fine enough. They didn't ask me any question about it. But the third panelist had a role or had a mindset that this is not enough. I need more information from you. So I had to had the second part of the conversation with the other person that disagreed with this much less requirements. So,
so basically, like
you have to elaborate yourselves only. So
yeah, it's like keep it consistent, keep it precise. Like, but when asked to be in detail, then only be in detail. Like describe more when they ask.
Correct.
That is a like very simple but like a very useful information. Like someone needs to, I don't know who needs to hear, but like we often do forget.
Yeah,
And
often do forget.
yeah, And since like with the rise of like virtual interviews as well, since the pandemic happened, there are like lots of virtual interviews as well. Like, what are the some best practice to ensure for the positive interview in a virtual experience?
Okay, so best practices for your virtual interviews. First of all, your technology, your Wi-Fi, your camera, your microphone, all of these things are the basic ones. Doesn't if these three things don't exist, then there is no point of the other things that we'll be talking about, right?
Yeah.
Because if the person can't see you, if the person can't hear you, if your voice is not reaching to them, at least voice is needed nowadays, because there are other platforms that can help screen sharing and all.
Yes.
Since like hiring doesn't happen on how you look, but what you do,
What to do? Yeah.
right? So it's more important on how basically the audio reaches the other person, right? So technology matters a lot. Have a good internet connection, have a good camera, have a good microphone. I am not saying buy Apple or something like that, but have at least something that is decent enough to communicate. Okay, I know some people might have budget issues, so whatever best is in your budget, get that. Don't hesitate, because it is going to stay with you for a longer duration, and you won't need it every day unless until once you are settled down in your job, right?
For me, you got frozen.
Connection problems happen at any point of time.
So you were at the point, like the last thing I heard was you make categories.
Yes, absolutely. So what I did is I framed my resume in 5 different or 6 different categories.
Mhm.
See, I can apply to a particular job with the best matching resume.
Mm.
So yeah, so that's how I used to do it. And why I did it like that way is because, see, every job has some, let's say, 10 skills required. Out of that, if even if you know 6 or 7, it's fine enough to apply. Not everybody is perfect. Not everybody can, have that prerequisite knowledge and come at your situation, right? So it's
Mm.
better to, uh, have a 60% or a 70% of the skill set for the job description and for the role and for whatever the responsibilities are mentioned, and you can go ahead with that. And this gives you the flexibility of utilizing the same resume and not customizing it for every job. Obviously, pre chat gpt era people will speak like this. So
Yes.
yeah, so it's very naive, but yeah, and but it's also more flexible, right? You can use
Yes.
these 6 resumes to 100 jobs. Now you don't have to every time go to chat gpt, give me my resume and then apply.
Yeah.
It's a manual task, right? So using
Yes.
6 ready files is fairly more easier rather than
Using the every time for every job you see, you go copy paste your resume and tell him to tailor it for your resume, your job description.
and then you take that content, you paste it in some xyz tool, you
Yeah.
edit it correctly whether it fits in one page or not,
Yes.
come back to the company portal, apply it. So it's chaotic.
Yes, exactly.
Chaotic.
It is. It is. Like it makes some stuff easy, but it's like way ahead. Like yeah, as your approach is much more lovable for me. Like having six resume, 6 different kind of 6 categories that you can apply for the certain job. Boom, that's easy. That's easier than that. Like yeah,
That's it.
and there was like one thing that you mentioned. I just have had in my mind, like I wanted to ask you, like when you were speaking, I didn't want to bother. Okay, let it be. Since that we were talking about the resume, there is also something. Oh yeah, right. I remember now. Sorry, you spoke about the one-page resume. So what is this thing? Like I hear from everyone that you should keep your resume one page. If you don't have the enough experience, you shouldn't go exceed the one page. So why is that? And how important is that? Like one page resume.
Okay. According to a research, I'm not speaking it by myself.
Yes.
According to a research, it is said that a particular recruiter takes only 6 seconds to scan your resume.
Oh, okay.
Scan manually, if they scan manually, okay?
Yes.
And if at all they don't scan manually, use a particular software for it, then what happens is, obviously, first you get shortlisted by the software to the resume.
Mm.
So it becomes more difficult for you, right? If you give too much information to the software, your software will malfunction.
Yes.
Sometimes keeping it a little vague turns out to be more beneficial, you know. So
Yes.
let me give you an example, like a chat gpt based resume and a generic resume was there, okay? So what happened is chat gpt generated a very nice resume with full details, with full roles and responsibilities, what technical skills the person has, everything. It created everything. The person was like outshining the resume. Person had less qualities, but yeah. But what happened is it was too detailed.
Oh.
And then in interview, what happened is if someone asks you a particular question, let's say on a particular programming language, and then if you're not able to answer it, it shows that you lied on your resume.
Yes.
Till now, whatever happened, like screening round, talking to interviews, talking to hiring managers, whatever happened on the company end, that turned out to be a fake scenario, right? So what will you do? Will you tell them that no, this was a chat GPT resume, take this resume and now ask me question? This is not at all possible.
Yes.
This is far beyond not at all possible, right? So having sometimes less details is good. Minimalistic designs give you the best output, is what I feel. And even if like I I am slightly deviating from the topic, but do you know, like, have you seen like good buildings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Monuments of
Yes.
world, right? How are they designed? Like they have particular design which is replicated over the whole monument.
Yes.
Every wall or every pillar is painted differently, right? That is wrong because it doesn't stay in your mind if you too much paint into it.
Yes.
If you have a unicolored or a bicolored or a tricolored thing, it stays in your mind. It's all about your mindset and how your brain captures things. So if you keep things minimalistic, to the point, precise, the resume the recruiter that I told about scans your resume in like 6 to 10 seconds. So yes, those will be fairly more than enough for understanding what you have and what you don't.
I mean, yeah, right. I mean, uh, once you are interview and like interviewer just picks up something that you lied about, he's not wrong to assume that everything till now that you have said is you have lied about. Like even if it gets one thing that you lied, he will basically assume that you lied about everything. He's not wrong about it because like
Yes.
he has no perception of seeing that. He doesn't know what you did, what you didn't. He's the everything is like whatever you are right now. That's it.
Yes, absolutely. So that's how things turn out to be. And if they try to go more deeper and they try to ask you more questions on the lie that you told now, you have to tell one more lie. And
Yes. Then yeah, it's cascades of like lie.
so
Yeah.
so better to not use such detailed and chat GPT resumes. Use it but for like minimalistic experiences and leverage it for the good, not for the bad.
Yeah. Use it where it's needed rather than just only using it and not using it. Like it's it's not so uncommon to think that some people do just give their resume, comes out whatever ChatGPT gives, copy paste to a certain tool, format it, and then apply without actually looking like what actually ChatGPT has written in it. And sometimes they just babble about stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
It does happen.
That's why interviews are for like,
to actually verify. Yes.
You can show anything like, I know 100 domains, but do you actually even know one domain? Is that the question?
Exactly. Yeah. So now we got about the resume.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yes.
Sorry to interrupt. One more point about one-page resume is that most of the softwares don't process high size files. Okay.
Oh yes, right.
They have a lot of load and a lot of data comes into them. So it turns out to be a load on the servers that particular software runs on. So they prefer lightweight resumes and it is possible when you have a single page resume, right? Don't use like photos, a portrait photo of your.
Oh.
That's not needed.
Yes, I mean,
it's just about, yeah.
I cannot say how much I have seen people doing that. That also sometimes I've seen like people spend so much effort just to making their resume so beautiful, like with the different sorts of colors, adding their so big picture so they stand out. I was like, but you are applying for the technical job. It's not a design job.
Yeah.
So
it's not a design job, or it's
yeah.
not like a fashion industry person.
Yeah, it's not a fashion industry person. It's like technical one.
Engineering or the tech part of it.
Yeah. Here it's
a fashion model. People would have like seen your Instagram profiles, and then that makes sense, right?
yes, exactly. That makes sense. Like where it's needed, it makes sense. If you're a designer, then yeah, then you actually maybe need to design. So it's like just give say instant. Okay, yeah, this person is capable of that. But you're a software. You're applying for the technical job. You don't actually need it. It kind of also gives the idea like you spend much more time actually beautifying things than actually making it more efficient. And again, in the resume, the things are important.
The right word.
Yes, in your resume, like your skills, your experience, and your knowledge is what matters, rather than like how beautifully you portray it.
Correct.
And since like we talked about resume, like can we also talk about like a little bit of the cover letter? Like why is it important, and why do you like companies ask it? And when you actually need to write a cover letter, what are the things that you need to write? How should you write it?
So see, what happens is resume tells you about, like we talked about, resume is very precise,
Yes.
and it talks all of the things like in bullet points, or very precise and to the point and to the fact that yes, this happens. Cover letter gives you a little flexibility of expressing yourself in a little elaborated manner.
Mm.
So cover letter can be around 2.5 pages. Okay, around that. Like it ranges from 1.5 to 2.5 max. Okay, but it depends on the experience level that you have. So what happens here is like the key difference between resume and cover letter would be like here in cover letter you showcase why are you interested for the job, whereas resume is just a plain representation of what skills you possess and what things you have in your pocket. The cover letter shows what you can bring to the company, what you have which cannot be expressed on paper, which but can be written in a long story format way, or what you call it, the passphrase format. I am not able to put it in words, but it's a little more towards storytelling, not like that big. So based on that, you can showcase your situational skills. You can showcase your basically how your current role and your target role aligns it, or your current skills align to the target role. Sometimes it happens that you are doing something else in your current job, but you want to target something else in the target job, right? And basically that cover letter, you might not have some things on your resume, but your cover letter can express that basically the person with the current skills can do the job, the target job. So that's how, and why do companies ask it? To your question, like the answer to your question is they get to know if people are ready to express or not.
Oh, yes, that makes sense.
The first point that we talked about,
yes,
again back here.
Yeah.
Are people ready to express or not? That's
exactly. Yes.
a cyclic way of connecting all the dots.
So it's like the little things that happens in each and every stage that you have to keep in mind. Yeah, it's like so put it in like in short, like cover letter is going to be basically the description of your resume, where you have the flexibility to describe in a further manner, because in resume you have to make it short and crisp and straight to the point, where in cover letter you can actually describe it, like, and also the stuff like why you're capable of this position, what can you bring to the table for the corporate and all that. So now since we got our interview schedule, we got into the interview, we cleared the technical and behavior interview, our resume got selected, we had a great cover letter as well. Now, what are some very industry specific question or role specific questions in your mind or in your experience that a candidate should prepare? That these are the kind of questions that always revolves around in most of the interviews.
So what happens is once you clear the basic set of interviews, that is like the screening, the technical, the behaviorals, there is, generally there are two more rounds or one more round at least, which is one of the salary discussion, and one is with the hiring manager, which is like the manager of you in the target company, right? Basically, that is the person, right? And whereas the salary round happens with the recruiter itself, both are fairly different. Okay. So with hiring manager specifically, I'll talk about the salary round a little later, but with hiring manager specifically, I would like to, elaborate on, like, you should ask them to elaborate on what are the expectations, what are expected from the first 3 months from the candidate, first 6 months from the candidate, first year from the candidate, and later on, based on the yearly or the quarterly feedback that they give you, you have to improve and implement things. Okay. Why is that necessary? Because it helps you. Let's say you have multiple such hiring rounds, you are exceptional candidate, and you cleared out multiple company rounds, right? So this particular expectations round, if tells you whether the job at all is finally there for you now, or basically you are able to choose at that point of time if that works for you or not, right? Because you are at almost the final stage where you are, you would be joining the company, and you would be, interacting with the same person, right? Or the same team, whatever they describe, so you have to ask about that. How is the team culture? What are the general work timings? How are the weekend managements? How is the work-life balance maintained? Nowadays these things matter a lot, because from the past 4 5 years it has been a lot in more highlight, because people were leveraging the benefit of doubt.
Yes.
Like, since people didn't know these policies that you get paid for overtime, you don't get paid for overtime, all these things people didn't know, and they used to just cancel out all their plans and dedicate it for work. Company won't get noticed until your team notices it, right? So it's not about impressing the whole company itself. It's just about getting your team aligned at the same terms and conditions, basically. So
yes,
yeah, that's how.
Yes.
So that questionnaire with hiring manager is fairly more important, and yeah, that helps you decide whether you want to go ahead or not.
Yes, and it would be also the great time when, like, at the end of the interview, like, interviewer asks you a question like, do you have any questions? And most of the time people just say no. Like, this would be the great time to ask the question. Yeah, most of the time people just say no. I don't know, they just want to get out of the interview or something. Even they do have some questions in their mind, but like they don't usually express it. But like, yeah, now since that you have mentioned, like, these days it's fairly important to know, like, what is the working culture, what are the, like, extra pay or something, anything that you have in your mind which is related to the job that you think that you should ask. It's a great time to use that time of frame when the interviewer asks you, like, any questions you have. Yeah.
Correct. Absolutely. And talking about the other round, which we a little bit left off, salary round, right?
Yes.
So yeah, that also happens with a lot of candidates, that people are not able to express their views. Again, connecting back to the first one, people are not able to express themselves, and they just accept whatever the first offer is given out to them. Better to do, see, that the salary round won't happen like, okay, come on a call, we are doing a salary round for you. This is not,
Doesn't happen.
there will be
Yes.
a particular time, that will be on your email or something like that will happen. Let's say on even on a phone's text message is fine enough, but doesn't matter that. But it has a particular time, and it is a particular link or a particular event to be happened, right? So before that, prior to that, just it takes about 10 to 15 minutes to know a little about the company, a little about the pay culture, a little about what the perks are offered. If you just note down what all things you can note down, whatever experiences you can, online there are hundreds of people that have posted reviews about that particular company, right? So just take those questions, ready-made questions, you have to just take in and just speak out over there. They are there to answer all of your questions and then give out the offer letter, right? So that helps a lot in clarifying all the doubts. And yeah, so even that helps a lot because you get to talk to a third person who is not in the team, and the recruiter basically in the salon, and they might have a different perspective overall, right?
Yes.
Like sometimes what happens is hiring manager is your real manager, and they might have projects lined up, so they might be trying to hire you by showing the good picture of but these people are uh, they are completely into a different team, they are completely into a different scenario, right? They just have to deliver uh, the candidate and the team, right? They are the bridges.
They are the bridge between the candidate and the team. Yes.
Yeah. So bridge doesn't matter which vehicle is going through it, right? They'll just tell that this is the strength we have. You take a Maruti car or you take a truck. Doesn't matter. We'll give out this much strength, right? So that's how it is.
Yes, and in also the salary negotiation one, that the one that you just touched upon is something like people, I don't know, it's in our Indian culture that we don't usually talk about the money. We don't usually like, or for someone who is giving the interview for the first time or is the first job, they just rather accept whatever the company is giving, and they have to understand that the HR is there to cut down the company's cost as minimal as possible. So initially they will give you the offer, which is probably you might be much more capable of that. Probably like team knows, but you didn't even ask for it, or you never negotiated it. You never even expressed your feelings that, okay, yeah, these are my skills and I'm capable of this much. And this is like the value. So I expect at least this much. You never said that. So hiring manager, it's a win-win for him. It's like, okay, yeah, you want that?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
They're like, hire you. Yeah. Thank you for reducing our budget. And like later on, you go to the team, like you talk with other team members, your colleagues, then you feel bad. Okay, they are getting a high pay, but I'm not. Like, you should have done that in the negotiation round. Like, negotiation, people feel, not all of them, but some people feel that it's not really good thing, but it's a. I would like to be a bit blunt, but like it's in our whole culture. We always negotiate about for stuff. Then why not when it's about the career and our pay range? Like why not negotiate about that?
Yeah, because see, once you are into the job, there's no going back, right?
Yes, exactly.
Your review cycle or your feedback cycle happens, right?
Yes.
So there's no going back, and you can't even like leave out your job and just call about on the other people who offered you, right?
Yes.
They'll say that no, we don't have a vacancy right now. We can't give it to you back.
Exactly.
Right? So it matters a lot before you join. It doesn't matter after you
join. Yeah, exactly. Like what you're going to do after you join the job, you join the table, you realize in 1 month you realize that your colleagues are getting high pay, and you're like go to your HR and like, oh, I want to increase pay because like I am the minimal one among all my team. No, it doesn't happen like that. They'll do nothing. They're like,
it doesn't happen.
You have already signed the contract.
Yes.
So last but not least, like what are some specific tools or the resources that you recommend someone for the interview preparation?
So tools, there are infinite, but for example, if you are doing some technical preparation, then I would say YouTube. Then if you are doing technical interviews, particularly in programming or coding, then there is Lead Code, there is Hacker Rank, there is Geeks for Geeks, which is a little more preferred by Indian people because it is developed and brought up by an Indian person.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people have a little preference over there, but it has the best resources and all of them are free. So you don't have to much care about, the expenses that come along with it. For a little bit about, since we are talking about a little bit in the early career phase, a little bit about system design is something you can Google, and there is one page about it, which is known as cracking the system design or something, or cracking the coding interview preparation. There is a short PDF about it. I read it very long back, so I don't remember the exact title, but it is cracking the interview preparation or cracking the coding interview, either of these. So that helps a lot, and that should be fairly good enough. There are multiple other platforms like, for mock interviews also there are platforms. Nowadays AI has grown so much that, you obviously you had a tool AI for building a website. On that website, you hosted an AI mock interview platform, right? So what that leveraged, so what that helped people is two things. First of all, you get a platform. Second of all, you get mock interviews that for free. So you can have mock interviews, you can have technical interviews, you can have any kind of interviews. So there is a tool named as interviewing.io. There are interviewing tools like Pram, which allows mock interviews and practice sessions to tweak your problem solving skills and increase them. Basically, it's like a quiz round, and but it's a live quiz where you interact with a person like scenario. Not exactly a person, it's an AI obviously, but
It behaves like a person. Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
So that's how it is. Coding and all, they have like tons of resources available on internet. So whatever feels like you like this person, he's teaching you good, you are able to solve problems, just go ahead with that YouTube playlist. I don't mind it at all. So
Hi.
it's fairly, some people have a preference, so I don't like to touch that preference. So like you might like English movies, I might like Bollywood movies, someone else might like Tollywood movies, so it all depends on person to person.
Yes. It's there, like there are varieties. Go and try out like what you like best. Yes. But there are so many. There are so many compared to the back in the time it used to be. Now things has made so much difficult. Like there are resources available for you, and the Pracedge platform is also available for you. And they also gives you feedback like, okay, yeah, you should have done that rather than this. Aye.
Correct. Absolutely.
Okay, Rohit, before leaving, would you like to share some of the very unique moment that you had for the interview, like from your experience or someone that you know of?
Okay, let me tell you a little ghosting experience. Okay.
Aye.
So what happened is I was completely hired. Only the offer letter was to be pending. Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah. So what happened is that they found a better candidate than me.
Oh.
They were interested to hire me as well because I was expecting less. But how do deny me? They were not able to deny me because I was expecting less. So this was a fairly ghosting experience where I gave around 21 to 22 rounds of interviews in the same company.
Whoa.
But still it turned out to be that they were like, circulating me within different companies, and Zoom is trying to kick us out after every 40 minutes.
Oh, yes. Zoom.
Yeah, the initial. But
wait, you have to repeat. You have to start again because it's going to be recorded, so it will be cut out. That separate area. Your experience.
Yeah, so I'll be telling about my ghosting experience. Okay, so I gave around 20 plus rounds in the same company across 5 different teams, starting from hiring. Sorry, the basic coding test on online platform, which is like the 1.5 hours test, and then till the hiring manager round. Like this, five or six times it happened in different teams, and like I finally requested the recruiter that please stop ghosting me just because I'm asking less and I'm not joining your company. Straight away canceled out the. They were like, no, please. Literally, they were like this, like, no, please. This is the final team. I'll be getting the offer letter in like a day or two. Please wait. I told no, I have a better offer, and they are offering me fairly more than what I have told you and what you have approved. So let's not negotiate on the numbers again and again and again, and let's not do the whole interview process. Then she came back again 2 days back. We have a senior position for you. Would you like
Oh,
again?
that's nice.
Would you like to again? Yeah. It was then again I would have to give the 6 rounds again because I don't know why they didn't consider the previous experience. Let's say I gave you 5 rounds of interview.
Mm.
Something I had in my profile that I gave 5 rounds of interview, and still okay. I gave it a chance. I gave it 3 chances. I gave 4 chances, but after fifth chances, I am wise enough to cancel out the opportunity because it's not the only company that will offer me a job. There are
Yes, you.
plenty of companies, and like uh, when I was looking for a switch, there was a completely hiring spree, and so it turned out to be a better situation for me. So I was able to cancel out the opportunity and find something else. So this was a fairly ghosting experience. I would not recommend you at all, whoever is listening this. Uh, Basically, because what happens is, let's say they give you a second chance, that is fine enough. Okay, you're
Yes.
agreeing, and because but try to negotiate on the number of rounds because it consumed me around 1.5 months.
Whoa, that's.
And the people taking interviews were like expecting me to be up at 7 a.m., up at 8 a.m., or sometimes at the night, 10 p.m. interviews I had to give for the same company. So it was a struggle and I wouldn't recommend. But yeah, it happens unless until you swim, don't learn to float.
Yeah, damn. That's like you have actually proven it. Like, damn. If something like that would have happened with me, I would have shattered. Like my confidence would have shattered into million of pieces. Like, oh damn,
It does turn out to be that is there something wrong with
wrong with me. Yes.
with my skills or my something like that. But like later on, I realized that other companies are processing my name and other companies are ready to, give me the opportunity. Then I'm not going with this approach of, just trying to pull in the candidates just for their, requirement filling purposes. So that
I,
doesn't turn out to be good later on, for
I,
career growth purposes. Like
I'm pretty sure that you're going to be very fairly amount of people's ideal that after hearing this, like, damn, this
obviously.
I can't imagine like how demotivated it would make someone. Like if I were that person, like if I were like I would be so demotivated. Like, oh damn, maybe I don't have the qualities. Maybe I am not qualified enough. Like I should stop. Probably like it would make me.
Yeah, many people do that.
Yeah,
They quit after 1 or 2 rejections. They literally quit.
exactly.
I'm not capable. I can't do this. I don't have the required skills. It's not possible for me. They are not hiring at all. People find out reasons. Why don't you just take that one step ahead and try that next apply button? That's it.
Yes.
You'll get a call. You'll get a call. Don't worry.
Take it as an opportunity to apply further. Like if companies like doing that much just to hire you, then probably it's not a good idea even to join the team. Like they're gonna, who knows what they're gonna do in the team then after once they hire you. And again, like as we talked before, like once you join the team, there's no going back. Like now you have to wait for it.
Yeah, there's no going back.
Yes,
And it does take time, even if you want to go back and you want to restart your job searching journey, it's not that quick and easy. Like, today I'm in this company, tomorrow I'll be in some another. That isn't possible at all. It takes around sufficient enough of 3 to 6 months time.
Yes, to apply, search, and going through all the process that you've already been to. It takes up like a lot of mental health as well, and a lot of energy as well, like a lot of time as well. That certainly you don't gonna have usually if you're just starting out the career. Yeah, that was a wonderful experience that you just shared, by the way, and thanks for tuning in, by the way, Rohit. It was lovely to have you on the show, and it was lovely to talk with you. Like, there's so many things that you explained on very well mannered, and with some of the examples, I'm pretty sure with your experience, there are going to be many people who are facing some of the downtime right now, but they're going to be motivated after listening to this right now. Yeah,
surely.
And for our viewers who are watching this on the YouTube, there's going to be a link in description. You might have some surprise for that. There is some surprise for you in link to the description related to the resume writing and of course, the interview preparation. And again, thank you very much for Rohit for joining in. I would love to have you back on the show again.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Actually, whoever contacted me from your end, Vishak and Swadesh, the team is fantastic. The coordination was fantastic. Timeliness and the good quality delivery from your end to the students, literally free on YouTube, is something even I would prefer, right? If I was the viewer section, So thanks a lot to you. Keep up the good work, and tell me if I can help you in any kind of way. So it's better to, make this world a better place rather than, just ranting about bullshit thoughts.
Exactly. Like together we can make it even more better. Like what we have suffered from, we can share our experience with the others, so they don't have to.
Absolutely.
They don't have to do all the hustle that we did. So because we always idealize that at least someone would have been there who told me that this wouldn't have happened to me. Like it would make it at least a less easier, at least, if not. Yeah. And before going back, like, if someone wants to contact you, would you like to share some of your social media or your YouTube channel or anything where they can see or contact you?
They can contact me on LinkedIn. I am fairly active on LinkedIn. I do usually post. I do usually interact. I do polls. I do carousels. So it's a lot over LinkedIn. So I keep my DMs open. It's public. And my profile is not hidden with anyone. My name is also the same. Probably the profile picture is also the same on LinkedIn as well. So people can contact me at any point of time, and whatever help they need, I'll try to at least answer them. Even if I'm not able to help them, I'll try to at least answer or redirect them to the right resource.
Yes. So, yeah. That was so sweet and wonderful of people. You can find Rohit. LinkedIn is going to be mentioned in the description. And thank you very much, Rohit, for tuning in. Like, it was wonderful to have you on the show.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye. Take care.